Hello, Internet, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Paper Cut Podcast. Start again. Include all letters. Okay. Hello, Internet, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Paper Cuts Podcast. I'm your host for this evening, James Jones. Joining me, as always, are my co-hosts, the Robot Brain, which cannot be changed, Matthew Chang.
Hi.
The Mercenary from Malacandra, Mark Mercury. How we doing? Hi. Riding in on the Blood Winds of Barsoom, Brando Castro.
So good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm doing good. And the last son of Saturn, Dan Jackman. Now, Dan, I had a couple thoughts there. I was kind of thinking like Daniel, Candle, HyperClan, Dan, but I couldn't come up with enough alliterative stuff, so you're the last son of Saturn. I hope that satisfies you.
That is fine.
Okay, cool, because he's not...
Just be glad it's Gem, son of Saturn, not Gem in the holograms.
Now, for those of you who aren't completely initiated in like the more occult, obscure sides of DC lore, and have picked up on this already, we are talking about Jon Jones, the Martian Manhunter, tonight. My friends have made a terrible error in judgment and allowed me to hold the floor. I'm hosting tonight, and I'm talking about my favorite comic book character of all time. I love the Martian Manhunter. He's my favorite character for a number of reasons. There isn't a shit ton of material about him floating around out there. There's really a couple select titles that are like way, way ahead of the curve, and then a lot of Justice League comics, which are serviceable. He appears in all manner of media. Most people are familiar with him, but I hope this serves as a somewhat more serviceable investigation of the character than maybe has been done before. Like I said, I hope. We'll see where we are by the end of the episode. Usually, for those of you following along at home who have maybe listened to an episode or before, we either start with a history of the character, or we go around table and ask people where they were first introduced to the character. I'm going to change things up a little bit here, guys. Just you guys here in the room, follow along with me and listen to this, right? Okay. Couple of comic book issues I'm going to list off here. I'm just going to rattle them out. Part of these I have written down, part of it's up here in my head, right?
Okay.
House of Mystery, number 143. Key issue. This is the moment in time where the House of Mystery changes from being what it was before, which nobody cared about, to a science fiction superhero title, which it would come to be known for, right? Brave and the Bold.
Arguably, no one cared about it anyway.
Still, okay. Stay with me, right? Brave and the Bold, commonly known as a team-up comic, right? Okay, that's basically what it is. Before issue number 50, starring Jon Jones, the Martian Manhunter, it was about like pirates and Robin Hood and shit like that. But Brave and the Bold, huge Keystone DC title, issue number 50, starring Jon Jones, the Martian Manhunter. Justice League of America, Volume 1, Issue 1, Martian Manhunter, front and center, okay? Justice League International, Volume 1, Issue 1, John's running the show, okay? Grant Morrison's JLA. It's about Martians, okay? Issue 1, okay, it's not Volume 1, but it's JLA, okay? John is there.
It is Volume 1, because the other would be Justice League of America, whereas that's JLA, so it's still Volume 1. So, you were right the first time.
You follow my point, okay? Jon Jones, the Martian Manhunter, has been in many, many, many important key issues. Many well-recognized, well-known key issues, important moments, pivotal moments, moments of change, okay? Now, I'm gonna go around the room and ask you guys, as always, when was the first time you ever learned about the Martian Manhunter? Dan? Quick.
Justice League cartoon.
Justice League Unlimited. Brando?
Yeah, the same thing.
Justice League Unlimited?
Yep.
The animated series.
Yep.
Matt?
Same thing.
Justice League Unlimited.
Magic.
DCAU 2001, Episode 1.
You've got a full house.
Really? Mark?
Mark. No.
I thought you were. I was gonna ask you last because I thought you'd be the changer. Okay, so first introduction to John Jones, the Martian Manhunter, Justice League. Same here. Okay, now, guys, is the Martian Manhunter an obscure character?
Yes.
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 So, he's one of the core Justice Leaguers. There's no arguing with that. But he's the least popular character on a team that includes Aquaman.
Yes. Yes. Aquaman is far more well known than he is. I think the reason for that is because he wasn't around at all in the Justice League during the Bronze Age-ish. Like, he was fucking gone for that period of time. Like, people like to say he's in every iteration of the Justice League, which is incorrect. Like, nerding out
Did
hardcore
go
there.
back to Mars for a bit.
Yeah, exactly. He went back to Mars, and because of that, I think he wasn't in the Super Friends. He never appeared in any of the Super Friends animated series. He popped up in, like, one comic book adaptation, but I think because of that, maybe that little gap in pop culture awareness. But, guys, why the fuck don't more people know about this character?
One other thing that might have had a very small impact in those early days is the best-selling issues of Justice League in the 60s and 70s were the annual JLA JSA crossovers, and he didn't have a counterpart, so he never featured as prominently in them as, say, Flash or Green Lantern.
Absolutely. No, there's almost never, like, an Earth 3 version of John.
Yeah.
Basically not. They kind of use Gem, son of Saturn, as being like the Legion of Doom analog to him, you know?
Yeah.
But that's not like a parallel Earth thing. Now, I'm following you there because during the superhero era of the Martian Manhunter, right, which started pretty quickly, basically the Silver Age version where he's almost always in his like superhero form, he's usually used as a Superman analog. Like even back then, in comics where they didn't want to overuse Superman or any of the Trinity characters, just like they would use Green Arrow to kind of fill in for the Batman role, they would use John to fill in for Superman because their power set was so similar and what have you, you know, which is a peculiar thing. But
They always relied particularly heavily on his super breath.
yeah, absolutely.
Like more than
breath.
Superman did. It was
Yeah.
always just like, there's a fire and I'm at a distance, so...
And that goes back even to before then. Like, the character, my favorite version of the character, and there's like, I would divide it into a trinity. I think there's three like aspects to the character, but my favorite is the fucking actual cop stories. There's not that many of them, but for the first 3 years of the character's, you know, history, he was not really a superhero character. He was they were like crime detective stories, you know what I mean? Like fucking Psych or something like that, where you have like a police procedural type story, but the guy's got wacky powers. And like he would blow on chandeliers to like prevent them from falling and stuff. Whereas Superman like froze shit with his breath, you know? Yeah. No, but yeah. I don't know. Were any of you guys aware of the cop John Jones outside of the like, for example, like you see him in the New Frontier before recently?
Well, kind of. Smallville.
Okay.
That was how he was introduced at first, mostly because they didn't have the effects budget, I assume, to do
Yeah.
full Green Martian outside of like a few brief glimpses.
Yeah.
So they opted to go for he's a police detective looking into weird shit, and then all of a sudden you find out he is weird shit.
Yes.
So that's probably when I first found out about that. And
Yeah.
I'd assume a few years later, reading New Frontier and the first volume of Showcase Presents is when I kind of became more acclimatized to it.
I think in Smallville they only showed him as a Martian as like a Flash once. Like I think he wasn't his whole shtick like he was supposed to like guard over Clark or something like that. Yeah. No, I was always fascinated by the fact that they had included him in Smallville. I wasn't following the show at the time, but I mean I remember like seeing a clip of him like eating a cookie, like looking on wisely, you know. Yeah. But he's not in the Justice League now. Okay, or at least he hasn't been since the New 52. Really, he's been supplanted
Not
by
the main one,
Yeah, he's on the Waller team, and like that's fine. He's in Storm Watcher a minute, but he's basically been replaced by Cyborg. He's in more media now almost than he ever has been, though. He's on Supergirl. Okay, he's in the fucking Injustice video game. I mean, he appears everywhere. Like we said, he was in the DCAU cartoon. Do you guys have any thoughts as to why it is that he's so overlooked or underused?
There's something.
I've heard that.
Species.
No, I have.
There's something about it that I do think people find vaguely off-putting. Maybe it's the creepy look. But, so before I came over here, I was talking on the phone to my girlfriend, and she asked what we were podcasting about, and I said Martian Manhunter. She had never heard of him, so I kind of gave a breakdown of the origin, you know. Last one on Mars, Erdell picks him up, he scares the shit out of him and he dies, becomes a detective, and eventually a superhero, and kind of like the most popular member of the Justice League you never heard of. But don't worry, he won't be in the movie. And her kind of unprompted reaction was, oh, I don't think I like him.
Nope.
I'm like, you've never actually seen him, read or watched anything with him in it. What? There was just some sort of visceral reaction against him.
Yep.
I don't know if it's because the plot was more complex. I mean, you could say that, but then again, Green Lantern's popular.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like something like Superman, Batman, Flash is fairly straightforward, you know, lightning, chemicals. But, you know, Green Lantern moves units, and that's full of weirdo aliens.
Yep.
So I don't know.
He's totally unmarketable. I think he's basically, I mean, I've heard, like, Brando, you said speciest.
Yeah.
Like a specious reaction in people. How the fuck do you sell a Martian Manhunter movie? I mean, even the name, you know?
Yeah.
That was what I was gonna say. That's like the hugest deal. Martian Manhunter. Nothing about that sounds appealing.
No.
He's from Mars?
And he hunts men.
Oh my god, like what is he going to do
It
to me?
does sound like a villain. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Because
That's the first thing I thought of, like, because I remember a while back, before even Justice League Unlimited, I heard Martian Manhunter, and just hearing that, you just think, okay, this guy's gotta hunt you down, and he has to be stopped.
Even on the DCAU Justice League, which I've been rewatching, in that first like 3-episode introduction, they
Don't call
give
him.
you a couple. Well, they don't call him the Martian Manhunter, and they give you a couple instances where it's like, oh wait, was he really not on their side after all?
yeah.
And you know, as a comic fan, you know that he's going to turn out to be the good guy, but
Yeah.
the show is playing with young people's emotions to be like, you've never heard of this one, so you don't know whether he's good or not.
Yeah.